Well, West Brom away, Neil. Right now, it's the toughest test in the Championship, isn't it? Still unbeaten at home, and they know how to get points there.
Yeah, I mean, well, they've obviously coming down. He's got his way of playing, hasn't he? And he's got better players probably to do it, to do it as well. And they're grinding out the results because they're going to get opportunities with the squad they've got.
Yeah, when you look at what Valerian Ismail is doing, it does appear to be the same blueprint as Barnsley, doesn't it?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, just with better players.
So, physical battles coming. Do you have the personnel to stand up to it?
Well, you've just got to try and be a little bit more defensive minded in that respect. When you're in our box, it's going to come in our box a lot tomorrow. And if we don't do the job right, we'll get turned over. Sometimes it just feels at the minute that we're like going a step forward and two steps back, like swimming against the tide at minute, at whatever we do. So we've just got to stand up and be counted. I don't think anybody will give us a chance there. And we've got to go there and stand up and be counted, really. We've got some decent players, and I don't see any reason why we don't perform well.
And obviously, I've said it will be a physical battle, which I'm sure it will, but how much of winning that physical battle is to do with being mentally strong as well? Because it exerts a different kind of pressure to what you might face a lot of the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're more or less one-off games now against the managers' teams, and you have to prepare for that. What you're gonna come up against, and I just think we've got to just try and stand up and be counted a bit more than the other night, because otherwise they're going to steamroll us, aren't they? Like the other night, I think they're in a better position than Luton. I would imagine they're, looking realistically at trying to get in that top two. But like you say, if we don't stand up to them, they'll just bulldoze us, really.
When you've spoken to the players, I assume you've spoken to the players about what happened the other night. What have you concentrated on? What is it that you think needs to be fixed?
Well, lapses of concentration, winning your battles, really. Not being intimidated. I think there's a mixture of all sorts of things. We actually looked at every goal we'd conceded yesterday, and quite honestly, there's some really sloppy goals. I mean, before this week, I think we were almost the best defensive record in the league. So, don't let's get carried away. We just didn't compete in certain areas. And the second and third goal, what can you say? That's a Sunday league job, isn't it, really? So it doesn't matter what league you're in if you concede goals like that. But it did disappoint me, the first goal, how it, losing a man. And then I thought, I thought even Dick Steele could have put his head in there and got his head hurt, but it deflected off his shoulder into the goal. We've got to be more stronger than that. We've got to be a little bit more determined to keep our goal intact.
You were missing Uche Pezu and Martin Piero on Tuesday night. What's the news on them?
Not a lot, really. Well, Martin was on the grass yesterday with I saw Grant as well. Grant, they were doing a session with the fitness guy. Martin, I think, was just fatigued, really. I think we just got a little bit lost in translation. I asked him if he wanted to be rested on Sunday when we were in for the Tuesday, because he looked shattered, and he said on his he gives me the old, and shows it me. No, I want to play every game, so I worked my mind that he was playing. And then Monday morning he couldn't walk when he came in. He was like an old man, So I think we just got a bit lost. I'm planning to play him, and then he can't even run on a Monday. So he's finding it a bit physically strong, And I think he'll be looking forward to this 2 weeks, really.
You might need a different app to get a different answer.
Yeah, it was only a slightly misinterpretation of that. He felt like he wanted to play every game, not that he was going to play, something like that.
In Uche Pezu's absence, obviously Josh Coburn started the other night and got himself a goal. That's going to do wonders for him, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, he is going to be a good player for the future, but I don't think he's in on sympathy. He's in on a merit at the minute. So good luck to him, and smashing lad. I was out at Beedale with him yesterday. He was opening a 3G pitch at his school, and the same lad. He's a lovely, like I say, a good ambassador for the club as well. So it was, I was pleased from the other night. It was a good goal.
You've actually had, with you playing Tuesday and West Brom Wednesday, you've got the extra 24 hours. Do you think that will prove much of an advantage?
Not really, because they've got players. As our fortune is, they've got some good players coming back from suspension, haven't they? For us, they saved them up for us. So not really. I think they'll have a really strong team out against us.
Just lastly, I was just totting up. It's 15 games since you last drew a match. I mean, it's very all or nothing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we we don't seem to do anything other than that. But I mean, you're better off having 3 points every 2 games than you are getting one each. So it's one of those things really. I've never gone out ever in my career, all this time, ever gone out to draw a game. Even when we in the Premier League and or we were playing a big club in the cups when I was lower down. Never ever gone out to draw a game. I think that's I don't see how you can do it. My teams, I don't think are clever enough to do things like that.
Has it been an emotional week for you? I'm just wondering, breaking the record in midweek. Has it been a sort of time where you kind of looked back on it all and
yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I've had my moments this week talking about past, and you know what I'm like when I get talking and things crop up and all of a sudden another story comes out. It's just one of those, it's tremendous achievement. I know how proud I am that I've got to this number, and but it's tainted with the disappointment of losing the last couple of games. So it's you're quickly on to the next. I think probably the time I'll do that is when I retire. Really, I think I'll look back when I retire. I've had literally hundreds of messages this week, and I'm trying to reply to them all. I'll probably do quite a few on the bus going down this afternoon. Down to the Midlands. So I've tried to reply to most of them, and some nice messages from good people, and I appreciate that.
You talk about the disappointment of losing a couple of games. How frustrating, I know I've spoken to you about this before, how frustrating is that inconsistency? Because it must be a manager's just biggest frustration, I would have thought.
Yeah, you could pull your hair out if I'm on it. You can't really disguise the fact. I think I've said it all season, haven't I, really? Where I think we should be and where we are. It's still all to play for, and hopefully with this break we'll get a few lads back to But it's the same old thing, really. We lose concentration at the wrong times. When I look at some of the goals yesterday, we've had goals come off the back of our shoulders, off the goalie's head, off somebody's back, off somebody's side of his head. Earlier, we've had a mixture of goals like you've never seen, really. I don't think the only goal I could see yesterday that I thought was a great goal that we couldn't do much about was when we played Blackburn Rovers here, and the lads stuck one in from 20 odd yards. A great goal. Other than that, they're absolutely terrible goals we conceded.
So, what do you do? I mean, what do you do? Is it a mindset thing? What is it? I suppose if you knew that, you'd have that sort of magic kind of answer, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, we conceded bad goals when we had a full squad. So you can't just say it's, people are playing in different positions and so they're not used to it. Yeah, I can accept that in part of it. But you've just got to try and eliminate mistakes and try and show them what you want them to do in certain situations, really. And hope that they come out with it. But tomorrow will be really tested for. If you're West Brom and you look at us the other night, I think I know what's going to be coming.
On the other hand, though, and we've seen it, with lots of teams throughout football, when they're really up against a tough test, it brings the best out of them sometimes. Yeah,
and we have got some good players. It's disappointing not to have sub available. You've got to. I understand that, but we haven't got to worry about that. We've got to get on with what we've got and try and form some sort of the system that we can give West Brom a game, really.
So you had Dykesteel back. What about the other defenders who were injured?
I think Dale had another scan yesterday. I'm hoping that after the international break he'll not be far away. Grant was on the grass yesterday. I saw him having a jog with Reedy, one of the physios. He was on the grass. I've not spoken to him. I'll have a chat with him this morning. He's been stepping up his training. I think he'll be definitely available after the window. But, we'll have to see. We've got one or two other niggles as well, which hasn't helped with preparation this week. But we'll just have to see what it is when I get out on the pitch today. I'm taking my boots down with me just in case.
So basically this international break might be coming at quite a good time then.
Yeah, I think so. I think, it will be nice to get sort of options back now and proper people in the proper places. And then have a selection problem. I don't mind that at all. I just think when you get injuries, you have to put them out your mind and move on. And hope that that the people that come in, can take the opportunity really.
Neil, obviously, before the disappointment of Luton, you were on a really good run in amongst the sort of playoff contention. How important is it that you sort of get back there as soon as you can, basically?
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody gives us much of a chance tomorrow, but I think every game is winnable in this league, and that's what we've got to prepare for. They've not lost a game at home. I think they've only drawn 2, so it shows what a formidable opposition they are. But I think when we play well, we're as good as anything as well. So whatever team we put out, we've got to give them a good game, really. And like you say, we haven't got to get too far away from this, them top 6. So at the moment, I don't think there's ever been a closer league in my time than what's happening at the minute, and I'm pleased about that because it means we're not getting left too far behind.
Does that, that sort of pressure to keep pace with the teams above? How do the players cope with that?
I don't think players worry about things like that really. I think players just come in and train every day and play and do the best they can. I think obviously your staff, you talk about different situations, but I think at this moment in time, with the problems we have, we've just got to get on with the next game. Try and formulate your team. It would be nice for me to know the team, what I'm going to play sort of 2 days before and have some preparation. But even today, I won't know about 1 or 2 lads until midday today. It's not the ideal preparation. But I suppose sometimes, in a way, it might be better against West Brom, not knowing what we're going to do till we kick off.
I mean this next one with the greatest of respect, but it's fair to say, obviously, you've sort of been around the block as a manager, so you'll not get too bogged down in sort of, the real highs when you do well and the lows when you lose.
No, I think you've got to do that as a man. I think probably the interviews I've done over this record over the week, I think that's probably been the big thing that's come out really. Yes, I'm disappointed, but it's got to come from me. I've got to be the one that lifts everybody. I think over my career, I've always said who lifts the manager, really, and you've got to have a good chairman and people like that lifts you. But you've got to be the forefront of the staff and the players and the fans, really, and not get too down and get on with trying to get a result the next game.
And you talk about who lifts the manager. I suppose after some weeks you probably could murder a good glass of wine. What do you mean, could
Murder a glass of wine? Yeah, I'm into, what's the Italian now? Amarone. I'm into Amarone at the minute. I'm sure the lads will clip in at Christmas and get me a nice bottle of Amarone. But yes, I know I have a glass of wine and what have you, like anything else. You tend to want to drink more when you lose a game. But I'm very fortunate. My daughter Amy, she's given me some lovely recipes for non-alcoholic cocktails. And I've got my mint plant on the window ledge, and I take the leaves off the mint plant and then put this non-alcoholic gin in, what's from Cornwall, what she's sent me, and then I put my lime cordial and stuff. So I have a large gin and tonic that's non-alcoholic and make it last most of the night. I found that's the easiest way.
Well, that sounds great. Enjoy. Thanks, Neil.
Yeah, no problem.
Take care.
Scotty. Yes, Scott.
Hi, Neil. You're right.
All right.
So just it sounds like there that you're not completely ruling Grant out for the weekend. He might have a slight chance.
Well, I'm seeing everybody, this morning in training. He
Recording stopped.
He did some work. Are we still okay?
Fine, yeah.
Sorry, I've just got something come out then.
No,
he did some work with Reedy yesterday. I mean, I was told that he'd be available for the Millwall game. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Dale's done that. I've just got one or two other little niggles at the minute, Scott, which I don't want to really go into detail. So I'll have to see, who's available and who isn't really.
Boro for after the international break?
That I don't know. I mean, he's seen different people in the last 2 weeks. He's been to London twice. He's seen another consultant this week. He's got quite a few sort of exercises that he's got to do to strengthen the area that is giving him the pain.
Right.
And we've got to sort of make sure he does that by watching him a bit more on his on his rehab, So there's every chance, but we don't know that. He's got to. I'm not going to even think about him until he tells me he's pain free, because I don't think Mark's. I don't think he's a player that can play in pain. I think, and I don't really want to, put somebody in and then have to substitute him after 15 minutes. So.
And then just last on the injury front, Marcus Brown, because obviously, when we talked to him 2 or 3 weeks ago, he was hoping he might be back after the international break as well.
He's flying training wise, Scotty. They're still telling me, around about Christmas, but I think knowing him, he'll want to have a game, hopefully by the end of this month.
Yeah.
In the 23s or something like that. I mean, I don't think he can do any more. He's one, like I said to you. I didn't really get on with him too well when I first come, but he's turned my thoughts around him, and he'll do us a job, will Brownie. So I'm hoping he'll come back soon.
And just one on the kind of wider situation at the top of the championship. I mean, teams that come down have always had an advantage, but it feels like at the minute that probably more than ever, you've got Fulham, you've got West Brom, you've got Bournemouth who are in the second season of having the parachute payments. I mean, is the system working at the minute, or, in your opinion, or do the parachute payments skew things too much?
I think they do. It's like anything else. If you're one of those teams, you think it's a great idea, and the rest of the league think it's an unfair advantage. It's just, that's how football is, isn't it, really? And I can't.
Like at the minute you're in danger of getting a group of clubs who go up and down.
Yeah.
Norwich being probably a prime example. Look like they might go down. If they go down, they'll almost certainly be heavily odds on to win the championship next season.
Yeah, I think it's getting
like that.
It is, but I don't understand how they'll change it. Whether the EFL. I think it's got to come from the people above, hasn't it? Really, things like that. But the only problem is with the big clubs that come down, or the clubs that come down, have got so many contracted players on decent wages. If they haven't got that clause, the safety net clause that the wages go down, etc., then they need the parachute to keep the players. Are you with me? But it would make, if they brought it in, it would make teams that get promoted not go so silly wages wise. They'd have to be a little bit and have to get these clauses. I think it would put more houses in order, Scott, and it would make it a fairer division, really, that without parachute payments. But I think that would be, when that does come in, I think that it will be sort of 2 or 3 years' time. Are you with me? To get people ready. I can't see it happening in the next 18 months, if I'm honest.
And just the last one for me. Obviously, the last international break, I know you were not particularly happy about Lea Saliki going off when you felt he could have done with a bit more training. Is he heading off again? Is that another frustration? Because obviously, this last block of games, he's been in and around it, but he still hasn't really got to a position where you feel either comfortable or happy or whatever to play him every week.
Well, it's the same situation, Scott. Really, he could just go back 4 weeks. The only thing I would say better is. He's been better in training the last 2 weeks than he has been before. So he's catching up on that. Then he goes away and flies everywhere, and how long will he get in the team and game? I very much doubt if he'll get...
Knocks him back another 2 or 3 weeks so he's playing catch up again.
Correct. So then we get him fit for Christmas, don't we? And and we go on.
Okay, doke. Well, listen, good luck.
Thank you, Pam. Craig, where are you? Yes, Craig. Sorry, he's here again.
Yes. Neil, just on Matt Crooks, obviously you're going to miss him tomorrow with suspension. And I mean, I'm just wondering, how much damage is that going to do to your midfield, given how he's played recently? And I guess, if there's one game you're looking at and you probably want Matt Crooks in your team, it would probably be West Brom away. How much is that going to impact you?
Absolutely. I did say to him 3 weeks ago, you've got to get through to the international break because the teams that we're playing are all very strong and physical and we need your help, So I feel disappointed that he's let me down, if I'm honest, on that. But nothing we can do about that.
Yeah, and I mean, have you already got a kind of plan in mind on how you're going to kind of cope with his absence?
Well, yeah, we've got a plan for every game, Craig, believe it or not. It's just sometimes they don't come off. I didn't plan to concede 3 goals in 5 minutes. It's just... we just got to give them a good game. I like going play. When they haven't lost a game, I'd rather go there than go to a team that's never won a game. And a top side would be a good crowd. I always get a good reception at West Brom with the West Brom fans. And they know I'll try and spoil the party if I can. We've got good players, and I don't see a reason why we can't give them a good game.
Yeah,
and we're taking a good following again, Craig, aren't we? There's a good following everywhere we go.
Yeah. I mean, you talked there about going and enjoying spoiling the party. I mean, throughout your career, that seems to be something you've thrived on. Is there something about it that kind of thing that you particularly enjoy?
Well, I enjoy it when we haven't got a chance, according to everybody in bookies and journalists and things like that. I think they're the games that you'd really revel, really, and your players have to stand up and be counted, and that's why I'm looking forward to it in that respect. And I still will, obviously will be glad when I get people back from injury, and I don't think I've ever been. I think the players have done well coming in, but you look at the squad and the number of players we've got. No disrespect to the lads on the bench, but the bench. I think there would have been probably 2 out of the 7 people that you would have expected to be on the bench with our subs. And you look at the other teams and their bench, and they're bringing internationals on and things. Are you with me? I do feel we've been very unlucky because we've got a small squad, and to be decimated with the injuries we've had, I think it's. I just feel like I've run over a black cat at times.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier, Neil, about who motivates the manager and speaking to the chairmans at other clubs and that. I was just wondering, how often do you speak to Steve Gibson? And you've often said when you come here, to bring Steve Gibson glory. So how does he speak often to you and keep you going during what is a difficult period?
Yeah, I mean, we always talk a couple of times a week, and after every game we have a 10-minute chat the next day. And it's good. He's quite knowledgeable about football. He's not like one of these where, as you're talking to him, you think, "What the hell do you know?" He's not one of them jobs. I've had a few of them over my career, but he's very knowledgeable. He does see the other side of the coin about some of these lads, and so it's interesting talking to Steve. He knows. I don't think I could do any more than I'm doing at the minute with what there is at the club. We've just got to persevere and come out of this and hope that after the window we get these people back and we're not too far away. That's why it's important for us to try and get something on Saturday.
Yeah, and is that still a motivating factor for you? Is trying to bring success for Steve? And you've always said you want to impress him and show him what you can do. Is that still a motivating factor for you?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Craig, promotion's always been my objective, really. So that doesn't change. It's just disappointing, and at times, I must admit, this season, at times I don't think I've deserved what I've got this year, but it's one of those things. I've got it, and I've got to get on with it, and lift people and try and drive them on to get better results.
Brilliant, thanks, Neil. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks.
Last one.
Joe.
Hi Neil, how's it going?
Yes, mate. Carry on.
Last international break you went off, it was fair to say pretty dire straits injury wise. I think it was lost 4 of the 6. This time you're sort of 3 and 2, so there's a little bit of improvement either way. How do you assess this little mini run of games?
I mean, I think people expected us to get beat at Luton and West Brom. I didn't expect that. I always thought we could, I think we can win every game, mate, if we play like we can. But unfortunately for us and the fans and everybody, we don't know what the lads are going to do. We don't know who's going to make a mistake. You can't legislate for some of the goals. So it must be terrible watching us as a fan now. You're up 1 minute, down the next. If we'd have been 3 or 4-0 up at Luton at half time, you couldn't have said we didn't deserve it. And then to concede 3 in 5 minutes, we deserved everything we got because we defended like school kids. So it is frustrating, and it must be frustrating for the fans. But I don't think anybody could do any more. I think I've just got to persevere and keep going. I don't want to give up on everything at the minute, so it's difficult. But we've got to get more goals into the team. We have to have, the recruitment's got to be good in January. Really, we need physical players. We don't, we can't be turned over every time with certain teams. So it'd be interesting to see, what we can recruit in January.
I'm supposing that the stop-start nature as well of the international breaks doesn't help. I guess you'll probably be already looking forward to getting back, and then the season really starts from there, doesn't it, with no breaks coming up? Yeah,
I think the winter months anyhow. I always think, from my birthday onwards, I usually enjoy it from my birthday onwards till about end of February. That gives you an idea, I think, with the Christmas period and all them. So it's a matter of, like you say, hanging in there and not being too far away, really.
And just last one for me, you mentioned Josh getting his first start the other night, obviously scored as well. Can we expect him to start again tomorrow, or do you have to sort of manage his minutes with his age and obviously exposure to the first team?
Well, I think whoever's available will be starting tomorrow, really, looking at the training yesterday. We'll have to see who's available. Like I said, there's 1 or 2 knocks. I've got to suss it all out. It'll be hard work tomorrow. We can't carry anybody tomorrow. Everybody's got to be right on the game, energy-wise, discipline-wise. So, I've got to speak to 2 or 3 as soon as we finish this press conference, really. Because if their mind's not right, I don't want them in the team.